The summer of 1942 saw Hitler's armies on the offensive in the east. The German Wehrmacht, bolstered by previous victories, pushed deeper into Soviet territory with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Their advance was relentless, driven by a combination of military strategy and ideological fervor. Their goal, the oil fields of the Caucasus, vital to fuel the German war machine. These oil fields were seen as the lifeblood of the German military, essential for maintaining their armored divisions and aircraft. Control over this resource would not only sustain their current operations, but also ensure long-term dominance in the region. Standing in their path was the city of Stalingrad, a strategic port on the Volga River and a symbol of Soviet resistance named for the Soviet leader himself. The city's location made it a critical junction for transportation and logistics, linking the vast Soviet hinterlands with the front lines. Its defense was not just a matter of pride, but of survival for the Soviet Union. The capture of Stalingrad, Hitler believed, would cripple Soviet morale and secure German dominance in the south. He envisioned the fall of the city as a turning point that would demoralize the Soviet populace and military, paving the way for further German advances. Propaganda emphasized the importance of this battle, portraying it as a decisive moment in the war. The city itself was a sprawling industrial center, home to factories and a diverse population of workers. These factories produced essential war materials, from tanks to ammunition, making Stalingrad a key industrial hub. The workers, many of whom were women and older men, toiled tirelessly to support the war effort, embodying the Soviet spirit of resilience and determination. The Volga River, flowing through the heart of the city, was a vital artery for supplying the Soviet war effort. It served as a crucial route for transporting troops, equipment, and supplies, ensuring that the defenders of Stalingrad remained well-equipped and reinforced. The river's strategic importance meant that control over it was fiercely contested by both sides. For the Germans, Stalingrad represented a gateway to the Caucasus and a chance to strike a decisive blow against the Soviet Union. Capturing the city would open the path to the rich oil fields beyond, potentially altering the course of the war. The battle for Stalingrad thus became a symbol of the larger struggle between two ideologies, each determined to emerge victorious. Stalingrad was more than just a city. It was a symbol of Soviet resilience, a beacon of hope and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. The city stood as a testament to the Soviet spirit, embodying the determination and strength of its people, and a key to controlling the Volga River, a vital artery that flowed through the heart of the Soviet Union. The Volga was a lifeline for the Soviet Union, connecting the resource-rich south with the industrial centers in the north. It was essential for transporting goods, troops, and resources, making it a strategic target for the Germans. Capturing Stalingrad would give the Germans control over this crucial waterway, allowing them to cut off Soviet supply lines and cripple their war effort. The German High Command saw this as an opportunity to deliver a decisive blow to the Soviet Union. Furthermore, the city bore Stalin's name, making it a personal matter for the Soviet dictator. Losing Stalingrad would not only be a strategic defeat, but also a severe blow to Stalin's prestige and authority. Its loss would be a devastating propaganda victory for the Nazis, boosting their morale and undermining Soviet confidence. The psychological impact of losing a city named after their leader would be immense. Stalin knew that Stalingrad had to be held at all costs. The city's defense became a matter of national pride and survival. Soviet soldiers and citizens alike were called upon to defend their homeland with unwavering resolve. He issued his famous order, "Not one step back." This directive was a clear message to the Soviet forces. Retreat was not an option. Every inch of ground had to be defended fiercely, and any sign of weakness was to be met with severe consequences. The stage was set for one of the most brutal battles in human history. The Battle of Stalingrad would become a symbol of the Soviet Union's tenacity and a turning point in the war. The city's defenders, despite facing insurmountable odds, would fight with unparalleled courage and determination, forever etching Stalingrad into the annals of history. In August 1942, the German Sixth Army, commanded by General Friedrich Paulus, unleashed a devastating assault on Stalingrad. Luftwaffe bombers pounded the city, reducing much of it to rubble and ash. The German army, confident in their blitzkrieg tactics, expected a swift victory. They encountered fierce resistance from the Red Army and the city's inhabitants. Soviet soldiers and civilians fought with incredible tenacity, defending every street, every building, every ruined factory floor. The battle quickly descended into a brutal, close-quarters struggle. Despite heavy losses and facing overwhelming odds, the Soviet defenders held their ground with unwavering determination. They transformed the ruined city into a labyrinth of defensive positions and strategic strongholds. Snipers like the legendary Vasily Zaitsev took a heavy toll on the advancing Germans, striking fear into their ranks. Women and children fought alongside the Red Army soldiers, supplying ammunition, rescuing the wounded, and maintaining crucial communication lines. The fighting was relentless, often hand-to-hand, with control of key points like Mamayev-Kurgan Hill changing hands repeatedly in brutal clashes. Section 5. Turning the tide Operation Uranus and the Soviet counteroffensive. As the battle raged, the Soviet High Command under General Georgy Zhukov planned a daring counteroffensive. Operation Uranus aimed to encircle the German Sixth Army by striking their flanks, which were held by weaker Romanian and Italian forces. On November 19, 1942, the Red Army launched its attack. The Soviet forces, bolstered by fresh Siberian divisions and vast numbers of tanks and artillery, smashed through the thinly stretched German flanks. The Germans, exhausted and unprepared for the harsh winter conditions, were caught off guard. Section 6, the Cauldron Encirclement and the German Surrender. The Soviet pincer movement closed shut, trapping the German Sixth Army within the city. The encirclement was a masterstroke of Soviet strategy, effectively cutting off all supply lines and escape routes for the German forces. Over 250,000 German and Axis soldiers were caught in the Kessel, cauldron, facing starvation, disease, and relentless Soviet attacks. The harsh winter compounded their misery, with temperatures plummeting and supplies dwindling rapidly. Hitler refused to allow Paulus to break out, believing that the Sixth Army could hold out and be relieved. His unwavering stance was driven by a mix of stubbornness and a misguided sense of military pride. It was a fatal miscalculation. The German High Command's overconfidence and Hitler's refusal to adapt to the dire situation sealed the fate of the Sixth Army. Despite the desperate pleas of his generals, Hitler's orders condemned the Sixth Army to its fate. The soldiers, once a formidable force, were now reduced to a state of despair and hopelessness. On February 2, 1943, after months of brutal fighting and unimaginable suffering, General Paulus surrendered the remnants of his army. The surrender marked a turning point in the war, showcasing the resilience and strategic brilliance of the Soviet forces. The Battle of Stalingrad was over. The city lay in ruins, but the Soviet victory was a beacon of hope for the Allied forces. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Soviet people and a significant blow to the Nazi war machine. Section 7, Stalingrad's legacy, a turning point in the East. The Soviet victory at Stalingrad was a turning point in World War II's Eastern Front. It marked the end of the Wehrmacht's advance into the Soviet Union. The myth of German invincibility was shattered. The battle had a profound psychological impact on both sides. The Soviet people, inspired by the victory, fought with renewed determination. The German army, having suffered a catastrophic defeat, was forced onto the defensive. The tide of war had turned. Section 8. The human cost, sacrifice and suffering in the ruins. The Battle of Stalingrad was one of the bloodiest battles in human history. Nearly 2 million soldiers and civilians perished in the fighting, many from starvation, disease, and the bitter cold. The city itself was reduced to rubble, a testament to the ferocity of the fighting. The battle left an indelible scar on the survivors, both physically and emotionally. The stories of their bravery, resilience, and suffering serve as a reminder of the terrible cost of war. Section 9. Echoes of Stalingrad. Lessons learned and remembered. Stalingrad became a symbol of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. It highlighted the strategic importance of logistics and the impact of weather on military operations. The battle also served as a stark warning about the dangers of ideological fanaticism and the importance of decisive leadership in times of crisis. The lessons of Stalingrad continue to resonate in military academies and strategic debates today. Section 10 Conclusion: Stalingrad, a victory forged in blood and steel. The Battle of Stalingrad was a pivotal moment in World War II, marking the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The Soviet victory, achieved at a terrible cost, shifted the balance of power in the East and inspired Allied forces around the world. Stalingrad stands as a testament to the human capacity for both unimaginable cruelty and extraordinary courage, a reminder of the enduring legacy of war and the importance of striving for peace.